I wish us a love invested in all. I wish us a love that meanders, flows, glides, and cuts through the earth like the Ohio River. I wish us a love that makes us want to show up again and again in the name of liberation, because freedom is our birthright. I wish us a love free from the toxic divisiveness of tribalism.
The fact is Denisha and all in Cincinnati is committed to make sure that we keep moving the needle. And that's something that is absolutely necessary now. And when we talk about racial healing and when we talk about those things, we have to be willing to have open, honest dialogue.
And so today we talk about how we can implement the all means all framework here in Cincinnati.
For me, equitable economy really goes back to all means all. It begins with understanding and have proximity with one another in order to be able to then collectively work towards systemic change.
We are really focused on being data driven, and that means the data that comes from the folks that we are blessed to serve every day. Where there are disparities that are present, how are they being addressed? And then making sure we set specific measurable goals for increasing representation in leadership roles, improving service access, reducing disparities in economic outcomes, and revisiting the goals annually to make sure they're still relevant for the outcomes that we seek.
If we are looking to create change, we have to be proximate to the communities that we want to impact. And right now, one of the things that I'm seeing in Cincinnati is almost an ease of exclusion. We just create spaces where we just keep saying, well, you can't come in or you can't be here. And I think that stops us from being proximate. And so we do it with our young people, we do it with each other. In Cincinnati, we do it so much. What does it actually look like to build a community that works for all of us?
So I think two ways that we can address that, making sure that folks are showing up, right, as much as possible. I know that it gets exhausting, but you have to be relentless, right, in terms of advocacy at the individual and organizational level. Doing things in a way that's non-exclusionary, I think is helpful in thinking about interdependence. So what I say is, and this is really in light of what, the publication and what PolicyLink has been pushing forward, is, and this has been my personal philosophy, I extend the invitation to everybody.
I do what I can, when I can, well I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home.
Too often, risk aversion is the name of the game. The bottom line is at the forefront, and whether or not we are willing to take a stand versus whether or not we are willing to lose status, money, investment, support is often in the way. We take the framework of all and we take the conversation of love and ask how you as an individual and you as an influencer in the sphere of network and circle that you have will take a risk and make a change. I have the pleasure of introducing PolicyLink Community Engagement and Field Director Lenace Edwards, who is going to walk us into the challenge to take action.
And so it's important to know that this is a reframe, but this is also a reclamation of the word all. So develop a root cause analysis, right? We should be clear and establish a shared understanding about the policies and regulations that contributed to the outcomes that we're currently experiencing. The second thing is we got to expand our universe of partners, right? Ashley uses this really nice refrain.
Different role, same goal.
How are we leveraging our friends and our longstanding partners in this work while also exploring ways to pull in the experiences and the expertise of different voices? So third, we have developed a shared results frame. So PolicyLink's results frame is that all people in America participate in a multiracial democracy, prosper in an equitable economy, live in thriving communities of opportunity. And that is how we orient ourselves to this work. And so it is important to get clear about your end goal. That should be ambitious and work from there.
don't know, this evening kind of paralleled what we did at PolicyLink. So we did wellness, we did healing, we made sure that we're talking about things that are important to us and choosing things that are important to us. And so I'll leave you with this. You are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it.
Remember, different role, same goal.
Building a legacy requires both vision and hard work. What gives you hope that we can create a more vibrant community?
Just like the New Orleans experience, we witness connection and care and better outcomes after almost every crisis. In response to COVID, through the American Rescue Plan Act, Congress chose to expand the child tax credit, cutting the number of children in poverty by 40%, but just for 1 year. When the pandemic revealed just how important clean, affordable water is to every family, remember we were advised to wash our hands for 20 seconds? Well, we advocated and won $30 billion for a temporary federal low-income water assistance program to ensure that the 2.2 million people without access to clean water could remain safe and healthy and well. Again, a choice to do the right thing, but only for a little while. Those are choices. So my hope comes from these moments that prove that we know what and how to deliver a nation that loves all. The question is whether we will choose to become a nation that loves and cares for all its people day in and day out, on a stormy Monday or a sunny Tuesday.
How can those of us participating in Cincinnati's National Day of Racial Healing continue the work of amplifying, visioning, connection, and love in a way that inspires change and action across the country?
You know, your question reminds me of growing up in a Baptist church in the South. When the preaching was good, you would run home and tell your friend, "Girl, we had a good time at church today." And then when your friend would ask, "Well, what did the preacher say?" You would answer, something about loving everybody, governing for all, we are founders." The words sound good, but they only matter if we know how to operationalize them. We have to model what governing looks like where we live. We have to show people what policies look like that actually center everyone's thriving. What would a housing policy look like that made sure that everyone has access to safe and affordable housing? What would our local economic development policy be if we want to ensure everyone has a good job? During COVID, our school districts ensured every child had access to a laptop to support their learning. Why didn't we make that happen before the pandemic? So we need folks in Cincinnati and Hamilton County to model what it looks like to govern for all. When you do that, then connect your efforts with Columbus and Cleveland and Dayton and Akron. Then connect Ohio's efforts to Pennsylvania and Michigan and North Carolina and Georgia and California. Well, now we're activating a new consciousness. That's a new mindset necessary to demand that our governing institutions deliver for all of us. Rest assured, you can activate a national movement from Cincinnati.
Thank you for watching the 5th Annual Cincinnati National Day of Racial Healing, hosted by All In Cincinnati and the UC Center for Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation. All means all, a revolution of the soul.